Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Petr Manin, and this is my colleague Vladimir. And it's good to see so many people in this hall. Thank you, PSS, for this. And I would like to start by telling you something about smartphones. Of course, probably my colleagues from PSS will forgive me for speaking about such a plain thing. Please raise your hands who of you had the first version of an iPhone. I see some hands raised. Who remembers the presentation of the first iPhone, which you see in the screen, and you remember probably Steve Jobs telling everybody that it's not just a phone, rather a player, a musical player, and an internet browser. So do you remember that? I see someone raising hands. Some of you remember those times. I remember being a student, and my friend showed me the first iPhone, and back there I didn't believe that this presentation will disrupt the whole industry. You know that this is a symbol of Revit. Unlike Civil, it was not changed in the version as a 2020. And here you see the symbol, the smiley. It's a kind smiley. Now it's something to say to you that there will be a new version, a new release, and it will have everything we want it to have, everything we dream about. But what's happening in reality? When we get the new release, when we get the new version, the emotions are like this. Alexander Kanevets wrote on the web, or posted on the web yesterday, that engineers are satisfied with their work and designers are also satisfied, while architects never understand what's happening, and they always expect a new release, version 2.0. In reality, we love our Revit solution, and we know that it's the best, and we also know that it has its own development map and development roadmap, and we really hope that all these dreams will come true as we move forward. But at the same time, we need to go further. In the life cycle of our project, there are different sources of information: design data, lists, quantities, specifications, very complex mathematical calculations and estimations. We also have a dedicated production management system and construction management solution. Some of the companies have internal systems and PM solutions. And recently we've been speaking a lot about IoT. Sensors provide feedback, and we have to work with this information and integrate it. We want this information to be uniform, we want it to be structured, we don't want to lose it, and we don't want to mine it again, to try to develop it again. Autodesk Forge. Many of you might say that this icon came to life 2 years ago, and we spoke about it already. BIM is also a new word. It has been coined only since 5 years, and we are now telling each other about new projects, about new methods, and using BIM. I'd like to draw your attention to this definition that engineers can themselves build their own web services and apps. And I listened to the previous presentations attentively, and some of the previous presentations echoed something about Dynamo. We spoke about Dynamo 2 years ago, and now Dynamo is a widespread solution for many projects. So probably we will need to do the same and listen. We will hear the same in 2 years about Forge. Forge means independent developers, partners, universities, developers, and also customers. It involves customers, so people like you. And this means that everyone can do this, can be the author of an app. And Vladimir will tell us today about Forge features. But now I would like to tell you briefly about what it's like. There are some Autodesk apps, and you can see them at the top of the slide. And there are some other apps and services developed by other developers. We, on our side, want to use information in any location and in any time, at any time. Last year, at this stage, I reported on AI, and today we have some examples on using AI to structure and analyze information and to work with it effectively. People use big data. They also use machine learning methods to be more efficient and to improve performance. In the center, we see the Autodesk Forge solution, which enables all the functions I've been telling you about. First of all is working with files, data management. Second is the viewer tool. So you can look at any model, browse any model from your browser, a BIM model or a digital production facility. Authentication API, easy access rights. The fourth module is various configurations and export of modules, cross-format export. The fifth module are the services, including your services, that can be implemented over BIM 360. And the sixth module is to enable web applications to load data and export and import data. The seventh module is about providing access to models and its individual elements from any location, from any other product. The eighth element is the component in charge of point of clouds that are transformed to a model automatically. And the ninth module is a flexible functionality of managing the model. All these services are up and running. You can see the slide and you can look at it again and try to understand it and remember it as we move forward. In the Autodesk Forge, we can use information that we collected in the course of modeling and designing and use it for any purpose in any location. And I give the floor to Vladimir. We see that you have 2 ears and we are 2 speakers. There are 9 modules that are easily understandable to developers. They facilitate task solving and try to build on previous experience and build on what you studied when you were a student. I'd like to draw another example. We have a number of scenarios that are currently emerging in Western European markets and also in North America. I'd like to tell you what we can implement. You saw Christian and Maria telling us about Rhino, Grasshopper, Revit scripts. People do impressive job, and we want to show you now some end game, what companies will face in 3 to 5 years horizon. The information we need has to be further unified and structured. What we have on the surface, so to say, picture visualization and visualizing different elements. There are a number of simple steps. We can use information, decompose it, visualize it, and get some elements based on the information. and also acquire information from other systems. You have three scenarios represented in the slide. The first scenario is about civil construction. Sensors, monitoring systems, they gather data and assemble it, consolidate it to their own storages. It's possible to write a script and provide visualization. It's all visual. We have a web representation of each instance, and we can visualize each of the instances. We can visualize what's happening inside, the dust level and other parameters. In civil construction and in industrial construction, it can also be used. We can track the work of units, equipment. Forge can use the 9 modules described by Petr, and we are able to consolidate, to unify different CAD systems and consolidate it into a unified database. In this example, there is a simple model that uses data about model elements linked to the pricing system, volumes and quantities of concrete. We can add the quantities to Forge, and the total price will be modified, and management will be able to see the changes. So you will need to do modifications to the web page. It will happen automatically. Another module, scenario 3, is about coloring and highlighting interesting elements for decision makers, for management. We see some of the modal elements from some of the units that are depreciated, that are getting old and need replacement. The second scenario is analysis and simulation. We can reflect results on the 3D model by adding information using the interdisciplinary model in Revit, Vega, or other CAD system. Other users can connect to the model and use the model. The major challenge is when we work with other stakeholders. Very often people do not understand BIM 360 or Navis. They are not able to work with this information and use it and apply it. They need something more. They need something that can make this task for them easier. The third scenario is about integrating with our cloud services, and in our early speech of Bonava, they use the SharePoint Online, BIM 360 and Microsoft Teams, and the fundament of that is a Forge IPA. This is the functionality, the feature that is sufficient for BIM 360. The functionality is there. We update it every month. The roadmap is also available for half a year ahead, and we know what will happen next. But users can and want to know more. We integrate those elements and we add new functions and features. The fourth scenario is called the space scenario.
We introduced a function when you, using web-based capability, can do basic modeling without using desktop applications such as Revit, Civil 3D, etc., 3ds Max. You can use just web-based Forge functionality to do some modeling or offload the data. It's flexible, it's easy, it's good. Another interesting scenario: to ensure user engagement, to ensure expert involvement, we use augmented and virtual reality. And this integration is going to be even faster in the future. Autodesk partnered up with Unity engine to use its functionality for virtual reality capabilities, such as HTC, Oculus, HoloLens, and there are more than 20 other manufacturers of VR glasses. And Microsoft has recently launched a new version of HoloLens. So we need to keep up with the trend. Another scenario, configurator. That's another interesting solution when using a web interface. We can allow our clients to set out basic parameters, such as how a window should look like, or how an element should look like, consisting of one part, two parts, or three parts. So Forge API transforms the element and transforms it back into to upload it into the model. And then another interesting feature, a very basic feature, is catalog. It's used very often during maintenance stage and operation stage, when an expert selects a certain element and sees the visual representation of this element. Which parameters does it have? So we reviewed all these 7 scenarios, and you may have a question. Okay, Forge is a cloud solution. There probably is some technical limitations, but well, in fact, there is a nice nuance here. The dataset can be translated into SVF format, and it can be uploaded into a corporate internal server, and this will ensure local access of your employees to local interdisciplinary model. And when it is changed after a maintenance procedure or something else, we will re-upload it again and update the model, ensuring access and integration of all users without using exclusively Autodesk web-based resources. It's just a nice thing to have. And last bonus I'd like to show you. There is no link on the slide, but if you send us an email, we'll send you a link. Digital twin. This is an aviation engine, and you see the integration with several parameters. Performance, you select performance and you see its parameters in real time. Rotation, temperature, RPM. And if we select maintenance tab, we can see each separate element, when it is going to be replaced, how much does it cost, who supplies it, and when it's going to be done. And total runtime as well, service life. And web interface also allows you to add additional elements here on the deck and to see the frequency of failures of this or that piece of equipment. And the last thing, procurement, cost, supply date. You just push the button and you submit the procurement order, the purchase order. To sum up, there may be different scenarios. Engineering data visualization and dashboards, project by project. Automation, previous speakers have all mentioned this. We cannot wait and see until a programmer or technical expert does something for you. This capability allows you to do whatever you want. It's like I said several years ago, it's going to be there. And it is there. Are there any examples? Yes, there are. Of real cases. Well, and we welcome you to become one of those 1,500 cases, examples, that use Platform as a Service, PaaS, from Autodesk, to address architectural, design, and what's more important, information management tasks that helps you to make informed decisions. Thank you for listening, and we'll be glad to take your questions about this. Thank you.